Texoma Exotics presents Not Another Reptile podcast.
Hello.
Well, here we are. It is another Sunday night, and we are back at it, sort of. Sort of, because we got people that are out sick and at shows. Actually, we're all sick. I'm sick too. Natalie's probably sick. I haven't even asked her yet, but I bet she's sick. But Holly's sick. Jamie's sick. Tyler's probably sick at his show. So this is what it is for tonight. We got a few people in the chat saying hi. Go ahead and give them a shout out here real quick. Steve, how's it going? Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. Reptiles and Oddities.
Hey,
how's it going? Just watched your live the other day. You were pretty tired, you said, when you were doing it. Thanks for stopping in. We got Mako Morph. What's going on? I don't know what Holly's doing. Why is she commenting on stuff? She should be in here. If she's well enough to sit in the other room and type on the phone, she can come in here and make rude comments to people.
Hey.
Casey's here. Hey, Casey, how's it going? Semper Fi, brother. No, it does not look like Holly, Tyler, or Jamie.
Nope.
I'm the only one that's typical right now, and that's unfortunate for everybody. No, I just got put in my place. My channel, my content. All right. So we're gonna welcome our guest here, Natalie from Paleo Pythons. She is, I say, represents the next generation of potential python breeder. She is into carpets, and we're going to let her talk a little bit about that. Natalie and I met through the hybrid snake chat on Facebook during some spirited conversations about hybrids. Turns out Natalie's quite opinionated, and she seems to be somewhat learned. So we're going to put all that shit to the test tonight. Natalie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. Thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy to be here.
You bet. Tell us your story. How did you get to where you are, and where are you right now in terms of pythons and whatnot and so forth?
Well, okay. As far as I can remember, honestly, it basically started with me. I liked dinosaurs. You can't own a dinosaur. So then it was dragons. Can't own a dragon either. And then it was reptiles. And then by the time I was the age of 10 or 11, and I realized that people kept snakes and lizards and turtles and all kinds of cool reptiles and amphibians as pets. From that point onward, I begged my mom every year. I was like, Mom, can I have a snake? Mom, can I have a snake? Mom, can I have a snake? I'll do the research. I'll keep a fridge in my room. I'll do this. I'll do that. Every year, I was never allowed to have one. I turned 18, and I have ended up moving out after that. And it wasn't 2 months later that I was at PetSmart getting some stuff for my cats, and I saw a ball python, and I couldn't not get it. And I will admit, I didn't know as much as I should have in terms of reptile care when I got it, but I do think that I learned pretty quickly. I had him for almost 2 years. I got him in June of 2023, and I don't have him anymore. I just moved him on about a month or two ago. It was January of last year that I was scrolling Morph Market, I think. I didn't know what Morph Market was until then. I think I learned about it from Snake Discovery, from Ed and Emily. They were talking about it. And I saw the carpet python category, and I couldn't look away. There are too many options, and they are absolutely beautiful, beautiful animals. But I am a one for the oddballs and the underrated. A lot of people don't like coastal carpet pythons, so I went with the coastal carpet python.
You like
and
the
I
animal?
went. I ended up with, actually, this girl, well, she's not out right now, but she is a 75% coastal caramel. She is also possible double het for Xanthic and albino, which after learning about that, which really sent me on a spiral with learning about genes and how they interact with each other and different combinations that can happen, like what happens if you put caramel and albino together, or what happens with caramel and Xanthic, snow, or albino and Xanthic, all three. And I learned that not many people work with them, except for I think there's 2 people working with all 3 right now that are
Right.
actively working towards it. And I decided that I would also like to work towards that combination. So
Okay.
that sent me into getting a second carpet python, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth,
Okay.
and then a sixth. And one passed away, but I have 5 right now.
Okay. And so what's your combination? What's your ratio male to female?
I have, let me see. Okay. I'm thinking. I have 3 females and 2 males. I have a caramel het Xanthic het albino, or possible het albino het Xanthic. I have 1 wild type het snow. I have a caramel zebra het albino possible het Xanthic. And I have 2 pure coastal het Xanthics, and 1 is a caramel as well.
Okay. Now, if to go back a little bit, it sounds like you've been in this for like a year and a half. Like you've done all this within the last less than 2 years.
Yeah, less than 2
Before that,
years.
you moved out, so you're like 20 years old.
Yeah, I'll be 20 next week, actually.
You'll be 20 next year. Okay, and there next week. Wow. So 19 years old. You've got a 2.3. It sounds like you are. So what are you planning on doing, or do you know that yet? Are you just trying to experience the husbandry and just see if you can get a clutch? Do you have bigger plans than that?
I almost think that I have too many plans to the point that it kind of overwhelms me a little bit sometimes.
Sure.
I really wanted to go to the coastal route because I see that not many people work with them because they can become bigger animals that are a lot more to deal with than, say, a Papuan or a jungle that only get 4 or 5, maybe 6 feet long. Because they'll get 8, 9 sometimes, coastals.
Okay.
My first goal was I really liked the idea of putting caramel Xanthic and albino all together, which has been done in Australia and Europe a couple times, I believe. And it has been done once so far successfully in America with an unproven male from Dave Palumbo. But not many people else are working with it, and not many people know that combination, caramel is a hypomelanistic trait. When you put that with an albino and Xanthic trait, makes an almost completely white snake. Which I think a lot of breeders don't like it because there's not pattern. I think it would be really beneficial for people that just want to pet. Because I think we need to be looking at both points of sale in the hobby, and that not snakes are going to be going to another breeder. And then I also actually want to work with some polygenic line breeding with my pure coastals that I have a pair of. And it'd be completely from scratch, trying to increase that black pigment into an almost totally black snake would be the end goal for that.
Wow.
And also, I would like to work with caramel and caramel Xanthic combinations to get those to be the best quality looking animals that I can.
Sure. That sounds. It sounds like you've got your ish together there. I'm pretty impressed. I for one like the patternless look on the carpets just because it highlights the head structure a little bit better.
I agree.
Head structure, I love the ball pythons and the Angolans and the retics and the berms, and it's mainly because of the head structure. I dislike a lot of the boa species because of the same reason, because of the head structure. That being said, I have the Western Madagascar tree boas because their head structure is, to me, it's so appealing. and it's different than a lot of the other boa constrictors. So, I mean, for
Mhm.
patternless, I think that that's actually really, really cool. And I think a white carpet would be, I think that'd be pretty sharp looking.
I agree. And their head structure is a lot of the reason that I fell in love with carpet pythons. They just have these big, beefy heads, and I just absolutely love it, especially the coastals. They have those big, beefy heads. I got to hold an adult one time. Her head was as big as the palm of my hand. I loved it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. See, when I was growing up, one of my favorite snakes, my most favorite was always the retic, but I'd say close second was the green tree python. And there was, if I remember correctly, there was a cover on National Geographic that had, it was either the emerald tree boa or the green tree python. I can't remember which one it was, but I got that magazine and I just stared at that cover for the longest time because I thought that snake was just absolutely gorgeous. So, I mean, one of the things for me would be, like you and I have talked, I mean, I would be more interested in a carpondro than a pure carpet or a pure GTP, partly just because it's a hybrid and I think that they're cool. But the other thing is I think that you get a little bit of a, you get a prettier snake, in my opinion, depending on who you mix things with, and you get a little bit more of a robust snake than, say, potentially the GTP on that side of things. So that's kind of my thinking on that. But we've talked about that
100%
before. So yeah. So what do you think, Mr. Holly?
Mr. Holly. So that you were talking about, getting that white. Is that like if you breed that, you're absolutely going to get a white snake, or is it kind of just the chance of getting a white snake?
The chance is pretty slim with the animals that I have. I'm looking at like maybe a 10% chance. But I am hoping, even if I have to breed a couple clutches for it to happen, the end goal is to have a bunch of those just white, they're called moon glows, just on the market and available for people to have at a price point that's fair for everybody, that's not going to upset anybody, not going to lowball or highball anybody, is my goal.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you need to have the snakes for breeders, and you need to have the snakes for your first-time customer. We've talked about it, and neither one of us really like the bananas very much, but we're like, if we're going to do vending in shows, we need to absolutely have some bananas on the table, because those
absolutely
the blue-eyed lips, they sell. People are just they're attracted to those.
Everybody seems to like the white snakes. Yeah.
I think if you overly rely on what is the most expensive and what is the most cool to you, and not what works best and is proven to be the most popular within the market, I don't think you'll get anywhere, and you'll come to a point where you have so many animals that you can't sell, and you're just holding on to clutch after clutch, and you're still producing because you're convinced that, eventually they're going to get popular and go. Right. And they're not going to, because you're not breeding what people want you to breed.
Yeah, there's a fine line between passion and pragmatism, right? I mean, you want to breed what you're passionate about, but at the same time, there's got to be some pragmatism to it. It's got to be something that's sellable. Otherwise, you are doing it as a hobby for yourself, and it's a hobby that you have to put money into all the time. So, so we got a question here. Macomorph, is Carmel a different line of albinism?
That is a good question, and I can definitely see why some people would believe that it is a form of albinism. It is actually a form of hypomelanism. Unlike hypomelanism in itself, though, caramel doesn't reduce black as much. It reduces it a lot, and it kind of boosts the oranges and the yellow pigments in there too. So it's brightening that color, it's increasing the saturation and bringing the black pigment down. Hypomelanism only brings the black down, so you get those kind of like beigey snakes, khaki brown snakes with those black speckles through them. They have that really nice melanin reduction. the caramels are going to be orange, yellow. They're going to be caramely colored, as they're named after.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Hypermelanistic is excess production of melanin. So you have a garter snake. Bobby, Holly's got a comment for you there.
Yeah.
You've got some some work ahead of you.
All right, we're gonna get Travis to his trivia real quick.
Oh, that's right. All right. Cue the intro. Okay, Travis's tasteless trivia. Holly's got me looking like some sort of a lawyer on the intro now. That's a lot thinner than I am. Good for him. So today's trivia is not going to be tasteless. It is, in fact, going to be the tastiest trivia we've had to date. We are going to talk about those nocturnal nibblers, those snacky snugglers, those individuals with the bitey bliss. We are going to talk about those that have a plethora of munchy mirth or peckish passion. We're going to talk about bite force, the stuff of too many 30-minute animal shows on the Discovery Channel over the last 20 years. We're going to do it again here on this podcast because it's my task. So here we go. All right. So we're going to do around the room with the three of us, plus the folks on the chat. So chat folks, put your thinking helmets on and, bust out Google or whatever so you can cheat. Tyler's not here, so we need somebody to cheat. So feel free. Okay, so we're going to start off with the animal kingdom. What animal, and we'll go with you first, Natalie, has the strongest bite force in the world?
Am I answering right away?
Well, I mean, you can wait and mail something to us, but it's not going to be part of the podcast if you do that.
I do believe it's the saltwater crocodile.
Saltwater crocodile. Final answer?
That's my final answer.
All right. Holly's man, Mr. Bobby Flay. What is your answer?
I think I remember something about the saltwater crocodile also.
Saltwater crocodile. We got saltwater crocodile. Holly says hyena. I don't know why Holly's not in here. Holly, get your ass back in here. Okay, so we've got saltwater crocodile is the answer. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Saltwater crocodile, they're weak. They're not even the strongest biting crocodile. Their bite force is only 3,700 pounds. The Nile crocodile has them beat at 5,000 in their sleep on a Saturday. So it's not even the Nile crocodile. In fact, it's not even a crocodile. And it's not a hyena. Sorry, Holly. I know her next guest is going to be garter snake. Garter snakes. That's a bite force of 25 psi on those guys. Interestingly, and I didn't even think of this, the animal with the strongest bite force on the planet is the killer whale.
Oh.
Yeah, at 19,000 pounds per square inch. 19,000. Number two is the hippo at only 2,000. So it far and away eclipses everything else. Go ahead.
Those are both animals that bully other animals, so that makes sense.
Good point. Bullies have a strong bite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So so I found that to be really, really interesting. And I did dig up some facts on our reptile friends. Oh, and by the way, hyenas, for Holly's sake, have a bite force of 1,100 psi. That is greater than a grizzly bear.
Oh.
Grizzly bear is 950 1,000-ish pounds per square inch. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But to get into reptiles, and more specifically snakes, we're going to go into our next question. What snake has the greatest bite force of all the snakes? Natalie, we're going to go back to you.
Oh, okay.
And the chat, if you got something in the chat, spit it out.
I guess I'm just gonna have to throw out green anaconda out there.
Green anaconda. I think that's a fairly wise guess. What do you say, Mr. Bobby?
I don't know. I never thought about that before. I don't want to get bit by another one, honestly. So, yeah, I have no clue.
All right. Well, it's actually a tie between the anaconda and the reticulated python. With some sources say the retic, some sources say the anaconda is just slightly greater. So that being said, we got those two snakes, right? Next question is, so a German Shepherd's bite force is 250 psi. Does an anaconda or a retic have a bite force greater than a German Shepherd or less than a German Shepherd? Natalie, you go first. I promise this is it. Maybe.
I'm gonna say less because it doesn't make sense for them to have a stronger bite force.
Okay, less than a German Shepherd, so less than 250 psi. Bobby, you say greater than or less than 250 psi?
Just because.
Say again?
I'm gonna say greater than.
Greater? Yeah, it turns out the anaconda and the retic have a bite force that is equal to a grizzly bear's.
Oh.
1,000 pounds per square inch. That to me I felt like that was inaccurate, but they did a couple different studies on the snakes. They did an anatomic analysis where they applied physics to the bone structure, to the muscle density, to muscular attachment and ligaments, and all, even, you know, the brain's ability to send contractual signals to the muscle. And so they determined that both of those snakes have about 1,000 pounds per square inch of bite force. That, to me, that's insane. That's not getting hit with a wet slipper. That being said, a ball python has a pretty impressive bite force in and of itself. And this is something that I bet nobody ever realized. What do you think the bite force of a ball python is? Natalie, you go first. I know you have no idea. You guys are like pulling.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I've never thought about a snake's bite force PSI before this.
Yeah, nobody has. That's why this is so interesting. So I'll give you some context. The human being's bite force is 160 pounds per square inch on average. A ball python, surprisingly, is an immense 150 pounds per square inch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that is like getting hit with a wet slipper. So there you go. And one last fact before we go: the constrictile force of both the anaconda and the reticulated python is roughly the same, and it has been measured between 12 and 16,000 pounds per square inch.
Oh my God.
Or an adult snake. I don't know what the size of the adult snake was, but that is what's impressive right there, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. My job is done. My assignment is completed. And nobody has been awarded any points during this exercise. So there you have it.
He always gets.
All right, and unfortunately, we can't do Jamie's jokes or Tyler's Just the Tip tonight. So we're going to just keep peppering you with questions. So you've been into this for a couple years. What was your thought process when you decided to start buying carpets? You're like, I'm going to get into this and be a breeder. I'm going to do this as a hobby and be that weird girl with all the snakes in the snake room. Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I think I got in not really ever anticipating to be a breeder of anything, not with the ball python or not with my carpet or anything. It wasn't until I really thought about the genes that the snake I got possessed, because I didn't even know I didn't know what she was when I first got her. I didn't know until I started doing some digging after I got her. And that just started sparking a lot of interest, and I started asking people questions, and I started looking up videos, and I started listening to some podcasts, and I think I watched a podcast that Dave Palumbo did interviewing Wayne Larks, I believe, and just the way that he talked about it and was talking about the process of getting to the point where he had the first moon glows in Australia. I don't know, it kind of like kick-started something in me that I was like, you know what? I want to do that too. I think that's super cool. And I think I have pretty okay husbandry for my snakes. They seem to enjoy it. So I think that I could be successful potentially, and I think it'd be really fun to do the kind of care that I do and see if I can breed snakes in bioactive enclosures.
Okay, and make something of it, right? As a breeder, have it at least. I know maybe step one, have it pay for itself. Bend at some shows, something like that. Uh-oh.
I think she froze.
Yeah, we got a frozen connection here.
Yep. Oh,
oh, she's running away. Minor technical difficulties, folks. But I think right now.
Can you hear me?
Oh, are you back?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, my cat accidentally unplugged my charger.
Oh, you gotta love the cats. Love the cats. All right. So what we were saying was, so I'm assuming that you'd at least at a minimum, at least, or to start, would get this to a point where you can at least, where it pays for itself, where you can reinvest into the hobby and just kind of sustain it. And then maybe some point in the future, you're looking at making some sort of an income from it. Is that right? Is that what you think, or are you not thinking that far ahead yet? You're just trying to have fun?
I'd like to make a little bit of an income from it, but I don't think that it's something, for me at least, that I'll ever be able to do to the scale enough that it could ever be anything full-time at least. But like a little part-time, kind of like more fun than function kind of job.
Okay.
Be really fun.
That's what every full-time breeder in the world has said at first. Is exactly But
I don't think a lot of people
we got to do Tyler's Just the Tip. So we're going to do Just the Tip, and Bobby's going to talk about the tip.
It's Tyler's Just the Tip. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Bobby. What sweetness do you have for us?
So I guess we were talking about the ASFs backstage.
Right.
So we learned from John Feely a few years ago that if you put a sweet potato in with your ASFs, that it lessens the chance of your ASFs eating all their babies like you know they do. And I guess from what you were saying, you've noticed a big jump in your production also.
Yeah, I would say that putting a sweet potato in the cage is the same thing as getting a gremlin wet.
Oh.
Because now I have ASFs coming out of my ASS everywhere, and I blame the sweet potatoes. No, that was a great tip, and the ASFs are definitely loving things for the time being until you know what. But yeah, I think that was, they love it. They go after it. I mean, I give them the black sunflower seeds, the chicken starter, and the Missouri. And, that seems to work well. I've got, I think I'm having probably a litter maybe twice a month. 2 litters a month in my small community of ASFs. So snakes will be pretty happy in a few weeks.
How many would you say on average they're having per litter?
It's huge. I think one of them, I might have counted 12, 13 babies.
Oh.
It's a whole mess of them. It's like a whole corner that just, I don't know where they all came from. Just a great big huge mass of baby ASF. So the litters are huge right now. So that's good. But yeah, that was a good tip on the ASF. So I appreciated you guys sharing that a few weeks back, maybe a month and a half or so ago.
The other thing about ASF is you just have to stay on them and make sure you're getting yours rotated out, because they will go from having one huge litter to all of a sudden they stop. And you're just sitting on, oh, wait a minute, I think my production's falling off, and by that time it's too late. They're really crazy to keep up with sometimes.
Okay. That's good to know. Well, I've got 30 snakes and I'm trying to keep it at 30 thereabouts. I have 2 more snakes to buy still. I've got the male dwarf berm that's out there in the ether somewhere. I think he might be in the in an auto site in Mike Pinnell's female's berm's belly at this point. And then I've got another female Sanzinia to find somewhere. So yeah, and the ASFs, like I had mentioned in the past, I had a few picky eaters that just would not take frozen thawed, and this is also a means to just, keep my rodent expense at a manageable cost, right, by supplementing. I've got mice too. I should say my wife has mice. She takes care of the mice because she thinks they're cute. So and I go in and harvest the male mice when I need to, and I don't tell anybody anything. I'm like I just come in the night.
Like a ninja.
The one that's gone. She's like, I thought there were 12 in here. Wow, I don't know, maybe you miscounted. She knows what's going on. She just she doesn't want to face it. She doesn't want to have a conversation about it. She just wants to assume, maybe one escaped, and I'll set up a trap just to, yeah, baby, it's probably here somewhere. We'll catch it. No, not catching anything.
Absolutely.
So
is this the first podcast that you've been on?
Yeah, it is. That's why I'm so nervous. But this is really fun.
Yeah.
It's good. So I was, since you're getting into this, you sound very sharp. You sound like you're really, really on the ball. Do you have a mentor? Or do you have someone that you would like to be a mentor in the carpet python community?
I don't know. I kind of just go around and I ask people a lot of questions, because there's so many things that you can't find online and you can't find in a book or a YouTube video. So I found myself a while ago kind of just building up the courage, and I'll make posts on Facebook sometimes, or sometimes I'll just like message people like Nick Mutton or Eric Burke, Owen McIntyre, Brandon Wheeler, a lot of people in the community. I'll just message them and be like, hey, I have this question. What are your thoughts?
Okay.
And I've learned a lot that way.
All right. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And your carpets I'm guessing they're all young, maybe subadults. When do you think you're going to pair, and which ones are you going to pair?
I have 2 almost 2-year-olds right now, and then the other 3 are all under a year old right now. Okay. One male is good to go though. I'm planning to pair my caramel possible het albino het exanthic to my caramel zebra het albino possible het exanthic first, and I'll probably be doing that end of next year, like next December. Okay. As long as signs of maturity are there, like follicular development, I'll be palpating and feeling for that around the time that I feel that she's of size and might be showing signs of maturity. I'll be watching for sperm plugs and stuff for my male, of course, to make sure that he's good to go too. And I want to make sure both are a good size so neither can hurt each other either. A lot of people like their males a lot smaller than their females, but I feel like that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Because I know some females can be a little bit wiry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I might even end up pairing that male to my wild type het snow the same year and just going back and forth every few days.
Okay. Do you have an incubator yet?
I do not yet. I'll be picking up one from Sea Serpents in Gettysburg in October.
Okay. Already got that planned.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll be getting a hatchie rack from them as well at the same time.
Okay. It sounds like you got everything figured out. What are your biggest worries or concerns about breeding? Like, what are the areas that you have a blind spot in?
I think my main worry is making sure that everything is right around the time of laying. Like, I feel like my biggest concern is not catching when the eggs are laid right away if I'm not home or something happening to the eggs, or like one rolls away and goes bad because the snake didn't catch it, or just getting a bunch of slugs. Those seem to be like the main things that I think. But I think the biggest thing, especially because I see it happen, is accidentally overfeeding one of my females, not realizing that I'm doing it, and retained eggs, because I see that happen to some people.
Is that something that's more common with a female that's been overfed? Is retaining eggs?
Yeah, it's not common, I don't think, but it is something that does happen more frequently in overweight snakes. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I heard about carpets was that they are more predisposed to tumors than some of the other captive species. Is that something that you're familiar with?
I am, unfortunately. Carpets, I don't know if it's because of the gene pool that we're working with, because we can't get fresh exports, so we're not getting new bloodlines. I don't know if it's a lack of genetic diversity or what, but it seems a lot of people have experience with both heart defects, which I actually lost one of my snakes to, and tumors and cancer. I think skin and stomach cancer seem to be pretty prevalent, I believe I was told. A lot of people have lost multiple snakes to cancer and tumors and heart defects. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear, there's two camps. One is that we overfeed the carpets in captivity, and that might contribute to some of the prevalence of cancer. And then the other is that, there might be some sort of inbreeding depression that's propagating genetics that also, make the individuals predisposed for cancer. So how often do you feed your carpets?
I kind of base it on their metabolisms a little bit and what their kind of body composition is looking at.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't weigh their snakes. I weigh my snakes throughout different points in the month, like after they've eaten, before they've eaten, after they poop, to kind of get like a good grounding on like what their base body weight is.
Right.
So that I can watch and catch illnesses easily, make sure that they're gaining weight with meals and not losing it. Because if they lose it slow enough, you won't notice until it's generally too late. So I feed most of them once a week right now. But my biggest caramel girl right now, the first one that I got, she's a bigger girl because she's not skipped a meal once since I got her. And so she kind of fluctuates a bit. I kind of just do whatever with her. If I give her a bigger meal, she might go 3 weeks without eating. If she gets a smaller meal, she might eat once a week. It kind of just depends with her, because she'll get fat really easily if I'm not careful with her.
Okay. All right. Yeah, with my Angolans, the standard is twice a month for them, but I take a look at how they're what their body composition and everything is looking like, and I would say I can probably skip a month or two a year, pretty easy with these guys. And some of them will go off of food I'm looking over, my Angolan wants to come out. She sees me in here. That's the thing I love about them, is they're so curious, they can't help it. Some of them go off of food the whole winter, 3 months, just straight. And a couple of the breeders that I talked to, one of them, he's like, yeah, I don't feed them from November to February. I just don't, because they don't ever eat. And then I talked to other breeders, they're like, yeah, they eat the whole time. So, and I've got two that eat maybe once a month if they're lucky, maybe. I'd say they probably eat once every maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And then they went off of food all winter. They did a solid 3 months, no eating whatsoever. And then the others that I've got, they eat regularly. But the interesting thing is that I have two that are from the very southern range of the Angolan python. I guess that's like southern Namibia. And so they're really, really light. And those guys, from what I hear, aren't necessarily going to go off of food the same way as as the ones in kind of the northern range, where the elevation's a little bit higher, and so temps are maybe a little chillier there. So, and the ones that go off of food for me are the darker ones. So
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's kind of the same thing with the Angolans. They're easy to get overweight. So, and you don't need to feed them each week. Even the ball pythons, you don't need to feed them each week. But all my ball pythons, they self-regulate, AKA if I sneeze in the room, they'll all go off of food. If the pressure drops, they all go off of food. I just had a storm here, and I paired a male, because the pressure's dropping. They did a great lock, but then at the same time, nobody ate. And that's been the case here since we started. I started breeding. I've been in this for a year at this location. And in November, we had a big blizzard, and every snake I had went off of food. And some of them didn't eat again until March. So my best eaters, my best eater is the hybrid, Agatha, and she missed her only meal that November. November 14th was the blizzard, and she missed the first meal after that. And then I had snakes vary from not eating till March to missing a month or so. I think that the next best eater after that went a month without eating. But a majority of them, it was a couple months, and it was maybe one or two meals all winter after that. And now they're all starting to turn on, but they're not turned on the way that they were prior to. So, but yeah, so they'll do 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll skip 2 weeks, and then they'll do 2 or 3 weeks again. So, yeah. What do you think, Bobby? How do you see like eating trends with your snakes?
Ours pretty much eat once a week. Sometimes some of our larger breeders will go every 2 weeks. Like, we offer it every week, but some of them just won't eat. We have just a few that will only eat ASFs. We have one that doesn't like to eat anything of any size, even though he's perfectly capable of it. He'll take it, restrict it, kill it, and then drop it. And you're just like, so annoying. You try giving it back to him, and he's just like, oh, it won the first time. So he just
I've got one girl that's 400 grams, and she'll only eat rat pinkies.
Yeah.
And so I feed her 2 or 3 pinkies a week. And she could take a small rat, no problem whatsoever. 500-600 grams, actually.
Yeah, that's how he is. He's about 6'30", 6'40", somewhere in there, and he'll basically fuzzy rat. He'll eat 2 of those, but if you try to give him a small, he'll strike it, constrict it, and then drop it. Like, nope, I'm not eating it.
Yeah, that's what this girl does. She'll hit it and coil around it, and then she leaves it each time. So
Earlier, did you say you keep all of yours in bioactive habitats? Oh wow.
Yeah, I keep all of them in bioactive habitats as soon as they can handle it. Right now, 3 of them are in tubs right now because they won't eat in a bioactive. They're too small. They're about as thick as my finger and about this long. So, and I keep 4x2 by 2 enclosures. So once they outgrow the tubs and have a good, I don't know, 6 to 12 meals in them, they'll probably be good. But I do keep all bioactive.
nice. So tell us a little bit about that. What do you put into your bioactives? What's your standard recipe for substrate and all that stuff?
I did Repti soil with some orchid bark or Repti bark for a long time with a little bit of eco earth and like springtails and isopods. But I found after a while of doing that, Repti soil, as nice as it is, a little bit sometimes it's really splintery and it gets hydrophobic after a time, which is not good when you're trying to water plants.
Yeah.
And boost the humidity and enclosure because all the water will roll off and pool in one spot, and then that one spot is way too wet and the rest is dry.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I've started using Scott's organic soil from Lowe's, which I really like. I'll mix that with some biochar, which is like bioactive charcoal. You can also get that at Lowe's for pretty cheap. I think it's like $10 for an 8-quart bag. And then just lots of springtails, lots of isopods, a lot of pothos. Pothos does extremely well in bioactives. It can dry out. It can be wet. It's almost impossible to over or underwater.
Yeah, well, they'll do good in a shoe under your desk, actually.
They're like the dandelions of the plant world. If you give them concrete with a little bit of dirt in between it, it'll grow.
Yeah, I've got a pothos in my. Well, it's not bioactive. It's I've got several potted plants in the enclosure that my Angolan's in. So it's a semi-bioactive, pseudo-bioactive. So I like to have the live plants in there just for air exchange and things like that. Help clean the air.
Helps keep the humidity from getting too low on those real low humidity days too. I find especially for tropical snakes, it's really nice. And even for the snakes that don't need the humidity, it's still nice to have some humidity in the air. Yeah,
if I keep the plants watered appropriately, the humidity stays right at 50%. And that's probably the high end of normal for Angolans. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's the same for carpet pythons.
Yeah, around 50%.
Yeah, in between 40 and 80%, they're fine in any of that range. They don't need the humidity, but they do fine with the humidity too. They'll shed in 30% humidity in a whole piece. But. Yeah,
Angolans are definitely in that. In East Idaho, the humidity here, it's like 30-ish%. And if I don't run the humidifier, I mean, that's pretty much what it sits at in the snake room. But these guys are totally happy. 30%, I'd say 30 to 60% is where they're most comfortable. And these guys, they shed no problems in the 35% humidity. No problems at all. I mean, they got beaded scales. They're a desert snake. So, so yeah. So as far as what do you put in so they're carpets when they're adults, are they still semi-arboreal? Or are they more on the ground, or what are they habitually?
Mine aren't adults yet, so I can't answer that 100%, but I have found, at least with my older two, they don't sit on branches or up high nearly as much as the babies do. My babies want to be up as high as they can, as often as they can, and are very rarely on the ground. While the adults are almost always, or subadults are almost always on the ground.
Yeah. Angolans are the babies, the young and the juveniles are always up in the air. They'll come down and forage on the ground at night. And then my adult female, she lays on the ground all day. And then when the light goes off, she's up in the canopy, crawling around on all the branches. So it's almost like it's a reverse behavior. It's like they stay down, the adults stay down on the ground, and then they go up into the trees at night. And then the juveniles seem to stay up in the tree and come down on the ground at night. At least that's my experience in my little snake room with my enclosures. So
What do they eat in the wild?
The rodents, reptiles, small rodents, reptiles, things like that, whatever they find in the rocky crags and things like that. Their geography is a lot of, cliffs, rocky crags, scrubby brush, low trees, things like that. So, it's not, it's, rocky, hilly desert area kind of thing. So, yeah, very little water. So, and the temperatures still get cold at night there. So winters you're looking at highs in the 70s and lows in below freezing, around freezing.
Oh, wow.
So these guys are fairly temperature tolerant. And some of the guys that have been into them a long time will cool them off in the winter. Not extensively, but they'll just shut off the heat and, just leave the snake room as it is. It might be sit around 75, 78 in the winter, kind of what mine does. And then turn the heat back on, in the spring, probably after, I don't know, Valentine's Day, maybe March.
Yeah.
And that seems to do them well. I think that's one of the breeders that his snakes don't eat. Maybe his snakes don't eat because he shuts off the heat. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, they're very, very easy to keep, and they're uber curious. They can't help it. I've got one girl that I got a pair I probably had them for maybe a month, maybe 5 weeks. I had them in quarantine, so I had them longer than that, maybe 2 months. And the female is really, really fearful. Hisses, wags her tail, or rattles her tail, whatever you want to call it. Now she's at the point where I just open the tub and just sit there and, wait for her to do something. And she'll sit there and she'll be pissed off. And then all of a sudden she'll like flip a switch and decide she's not afraid anymore. And then just starts coming forward. So, yeah, we're making moves. So I'll have her eating out of my hand like all the rest of the Angolans. So. And the Sanzinia are still pretty spicy. So.
We need to run our sponsor video real quick.
Oh, yes. Sponsors.
The shout out. You get it?
Yep. I'll get it right now. Say again?
If you need to accelerate your breeding plans, use Charlie at Grey Rider Reptiles for fast and reliable shed testing services. His testing services offer both speed and accuracy, ensuring that you receive dependable results in a timely manner. As a valued customer, he is happy to offer you a 15% discount on your purchase. Visit www.shedtesting.com and use code TEXOMA15 during checkout to take advantage of the offer. Limit of 2 uses per customer.
Meet Sammy, a ball python breeder with a specialty in the Pied Project. When you meet him, don't be shy to ask questions about his snakes, as he loves to share his knowledge and experience with others. He is a friendly and approachable guy who is always happy to chat with fellow reptile enthusiasts. Whether you are a seasoned snake breeder or just starting out, Sammy is the perfect person to connect with if you are interested in the Pied Project. So keep a lookout for that hot pink shirt.
Python Suzy. He's been professionally fondling pythons since April 2024. Before that, it was just for fun. He has balls and golans, and soon he'll have dwarf Burmese pythons in his collection. He loves dark clowns, leopards, and long walks on the beach with sunsets. He thinks Orange Dream and Blackhead are salt and pepper on a good steak. Hit him up. He'll talk about just about anything.
It's true. It's true. See that what happens when Holly's not here? Totally forget about the sponsors, everything.
Yeah, like almost at the end. You know, what do you do?
Well, Natalie, we got a few minutes left. You got any questions for us, or anything you want to close out with?
I'm honestly not sure.
Not sure. All right.
Thanks. You want to show off?
Oh, Bobby, you got anything?
You got any snakes you want to show off or anything?
Ah, there you go.
If I can get her out, see where she at.
I think I remember that one, Chris.
This is the one that I got first.
All right. Let's see what we can do here. No. Give us a second here. Let's figure out this. I don't know how we can select where you're the one that's.
Hang on, let me see.
Maybe you got to just cycle through them.
Yeah, I just cycled through them. Let me get somebody else. Give somebody else a shot here.
That's weird. They changed stuff. Well, hang on. No, there we go. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there you go. This is the caramel possible head exanthic head albino. She will be 2 years old July 17th. She is about 850 grams right now and as puppy dog tame and tolerant as you can get. She does not care about anything. She is kind of in shed right now, but usually her colors are really bright and they're desaturated. I think I am assuming because I am very hopeful that she has the exanthic gene. I have a theory that it is incomplete dominant and not recessive. We will see if that proves out. And she's about, I think I measured her about yesterday. She's about 4 feet and 10 inches long. She has not skipped a meal, so that is why.
Okay.
She's the largest and just best carpet python that I have, which is why I got more. And now 2 of them are psychopaths.
Yeah, you can't get
another
lucky
cat, and then it's the one that bounces off the walls.
Nice. Now, I'd never looked because I'm not into carpets, but do they have any shed testing for carpets?
I'm glad you asked. They do not at the time, but as far as I have received knowledge on, they are actively working on tests for them, and they have been for quite a long time now. But the Morelia genus as a whole has more complex chromosomes and genetic variables that are harder to look into and do shed tests properly on. They're harder. They've been trying to work on them since basically as long as RGI has been around, longer than that even, as far as I remember from hearing him speak in podcasts. But I am hopeful that we will see them this year, this summer, from what I hear, as long as things keep going according to their plans.
Yeah. Do you know if anybody's got the genome mapped out, or part of the genome mapped out at least, where we could use that as a reference?
That would be, shoot, I can't remember his name. Now I'm gonna sound dumb. It's the owner of Rare Genetics. That would be him.
Okay. Well, hopefully they get something going, and you can use that to help push your breeding program.
I really hope so. I've been collecting my sheds from my snakes since they all have variable genes in them to kind of help push that research along a little bit, give them a little bit of something to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am very hopeful.
Yeah, I sent a bunch of sheds in here a few weeks ago and got some answers back, which was definitely going to help me not waste time with pairings. So Yeah, so that's good. Couple still to come back. So those should give me some more answers and send me on some direction.
For your ball pythons.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that blackhead orange dream girl that has got such a crazy expression of orange dream that I really think that there are some other things in there. So I need to find out exactly what those are. Tyler thinks Enchi, and I think Enchi is the front runner for one of them. The other thing is just that expression of orange dream just is insane. I have yet to come across it on another snake, at least one with the blackhead in it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Oh, she looks like a good girl. Looks like she's pretty tame too. Like you just grab
Yeah,
her head.
you can do just whatever to her. She doesn't care. I could look at her if I needed to look in her teeth or look in her mouth, she'll let me. No ifs, ands, or buts. She was extremely mean when I first got her, but she tamed down real nice. She just needed that size on her and that confidence. Most carpet pythons do.
Yeah.
The other one that I have that is the same age as her and is about a third of her size. She is an absolute nutcase, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Much different experience holding her than this one.
Yeah, extremely. I'll get lit up if I hold the other one. She's a nervous wreck. She gets super defensive super quick and thinks everything's out to get her.
Sounds like a teenager.
Maybe she'll grow out of it. It's just a phase, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Natalie, we're at an hour. I think it's probably time for us to close.
Okay.
Holly's Bobby, you got anything?
Just where can people find you if they want to look you up?
I have an Instagram under Paleo_Pythons where I post pictures and I will be posting more videos of my snakes. I also have a TikTok under the same username. And then I can always be reached out to on Facebook, Natalie Bream. I am always there if anybody ever has any questions or wants to talk or anything. I'm always available and I'll always message back.
Nice. Well, it was nice having you and best of luck in the future. We'll have to check back in and see how you're doing with everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been a real blast. It was a great opportunity you gave me.
Hey, no sweat. It's always nice to get some of the new folks in here and showcase them, the next generation that's coming up. So, like I said, best of luck and hope everything continues to work out for you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot.
All right. Holly's Bobby, you want to take us out?
Yeah, just everybody appreciate you coming out and supporting us, and
Thanks everybody in the chat.
We'll see y'all next weekend. Everybody have a good week.
All right, have a good week.
See you later.